Hello everybody and welcome back. Today we're going to be looking at 5 tips to help you win more shotgun fights. I'm going to have everything timestamped down in the description, so if you want to jump from tip to tip, you're welcome to, but let's get right into it. Playing your edits right in a tight situation is huge, especially if you steal someone's wall, because if you go for the typical window or corner edit, it's going to be pretty predictable, and a lot of players that are good are going to be able to read that quite easily, and they're going to be ADS already on you, and it's going to put you at quite a disadvantage, because not only do you have to edit, but then you have to swap to your weapon, which for shotguns takes quite a little bit of time to pull out. They're going to be able to chunk you once or twice before you even get a shot off, and it's going to give that advantage to them instead. So instead of going for a predictable 50-50 edit, I recommend trying to play some mind games with your opponent. Especially if they haven't seen something before, it's going to be a lot harder to predict. One thing that I like to do a lot is if I already have a wall taken, but they're just kind of staring at me, I'll hop over to another wall that they still have, and I'll try to pickaxe it down, because that way they're going to pull out their builds again, which once I hop back over to the wall that I already have and make an edit in, they're going to still have their builds out most of the times, and that way you can kind of take them off their guard and get a quick shot in on them. Another tactic you can utilize is going for a fake heal. So if you have a wall, you can just start popping a mini or a health heal, and a lot of times your opponent will try to edit or break out a different side of the box, and that's when you can go for a really quick edit, because they're going to have their either back turned to you or have their builds out, so it's pretty much just a free shot to get a lot of damage in on them. ADSing is huge. Not only will it give you a more precise shot, but it will help with keeping your shots more consistent and hitting those big numbers. With a combat shotgun and the tac shotgun, the pellet spread is pretty wide without ADSing. So if you shoot, you might only end up connecting with only half of your pellets to their body, and that's where you start getting those shots that end up only hitting, say, 27 damage. But you have to be careful. ADSing will hinder your movement quite a lot, and it will leave you pretty vulnerable to getting lasered, especially if you're just standing out in the open, because you can't really move or dodge quite fast when you're aiming down your sights. What I recommend, and what I personally do, is right before I go for a shot, I tap my right mouse button, if you're in a controller, your left trigger, and it'll quickly close in your reticle to increase your accuracy and tighten your pellet spread to get those consistent shots. Going for quick flick shots in between your builds during a fight is a great way to chip away your opponent's health. If you hit them hard enough or enough times, they'll end up turtling to quickly heal, and that is when you can keep the pressure on. With a combat shotgun, you can hit someone for quite a lot from far away. So this strategy is great to use because you can chunk someone for 80 to 100 damage from much farther than you used to be able to with a pump. Once they turtle up, this is where you gain the advantage. Don't let them heal up if possible, and keep trying to steal their wall so they can't. This will give you a pretty good advantage in terms of health, because if they try to make an edit play out on you with a 50-50, you'll be able to win just on terms of how much health you have, because you can't really get one pumped anymore. And this is how you deal with players who you feel might be better than you or on the same level, because everything might be the same in terms of how fast you can edit, build, and shoot, and accuracy, but what it comes down to is who makes the most mistakes, and that pressure is what causes players to make mistakes, and then you can capitalize on top of those. One of the worst things you can do is land on someone or hop into their box, because you lose just about any advantage you had or that you would have, because you don't control any of the walls, so you don't really control the engagement. Most of the time, if you hop into a box, you're going to have someone lay down 4 traps, and even if you end up getting the limb, you're not going to be able to escape all the traps. So if you get an edit, don't run in like a psycho unless you for sure can finish them before they can do anything, and even that is a little bit risky. There are much better ways to get control of a situation. Replacing their ramp with a cone or a ramp will leave them defenseless, and you control that edit, which will give you complete control over the engagement, which is important. If you try to win your fights just going for 50-50s, you're always going to try and get lucky in those fights. Instead of going for complete control over the situation is a great way to come out on top using your skill. In the current meta, peeking from height is risky, and peeking from low ground is pretty great. So let's break this section down into 2 scenarios, one when you're on height and one when you're on low ground. If you're on height, you want your opponents to be moving and trying to build up towards you, because you can easily spray out their backs or get in shots from deep with a combat shotgun while they're trying to build up to you, which is kind of part of getting those chip shots in. But you need to be careful, because if you see a player looking up at you, they're most likely going to try to get a shot off on you, and quickly peeking from different angles and shooting your combat shotgun or your tac near where their head is a great way of getting them to move around, or just peeking a couple seconds and getting a couple shots off with your drum gun or SMG is a great way to get them moving into a position that is probably going to be much better for you. If you're on low ground, protection while trying to take height is crucial. The combat shotgun can hit from far and for a lot, and since you're already at a disadvantage on low ground, being low on health is not another disadvantage that you want to have. Spending a couple extra mats here and there to protect yourself is definitely worth it. If a player is spraying you from high ground though, go for a quick shot with a shotty because you'll be able to hit them pretty hard since just about all you can see is their head. And you might have to tank a 1 or 2 SMG shots, but you're definitely going to do a lot more damage to them than what they're going to do to you. From there, you should have a little bit of time while they're healing up to make some moves onto high ground or to get yourself into a much better position. That is going to wrap up the video there, guys. I hope you did enjoy. Make sure to stick around. I hit a pretty cool trick shot at the end of the video, and I was pretty psyched about it because it's the first one I've ever hit. Other than that, guys, make sure to leave a like and subscribe as it really does help with the channel, and I'll see you guys all in the next one.